It seems to me that many people don't know how heavily you can modify the Saiga shotgun. This video will show you some of the pretty cool tactics to get the recoil at a reasonable level, and of course how to add scopes, silencers and whatever you need. First of all, you need to have the Saiga shotgun. So either you found it or you buy it from the flea market. In my case, I will buy it here. Make sure that the attachments are all in there if you don't want to modify it heavily. Otherwise, you can buy pretty much a naked gun and we will attach everything new to it. The first thing we buy is a Hexagon silencer, which can be attached to the barrel directly. You don't need anything for this. You can add many different stocks to the Saiga. I will show you two of my favorite loadouts. For the first variant, I need an adapter, the PT lock AK-74. It's this one, and you use it to attach the AK stocks to that rifle. In this case, I use the PT3 stock because this one has really a very good reduction for the recoil. As an alternative, you could use the RPK-16 buffer tube, this one. And when you use this one, you can use also two different stocks, or of course many different stocks from the M4 series to it, or RA15 series. For this I use either the MOE stock or I use the bus stock. I will show you both. So the MOE is this one. And if you play with one of these, you always have to add the rubber pad to it, because otherwise the recoil is not low enough. So these two things, or you buy the bus stock, it's this one, which has in total exactly the same recoil if you use the MOE stock with the rubber pad or you use this one. So if you found one in your raid, take this or just buy whatever you like from the visual more. If you are crazy, you can also use the advanced, this one, the advanced extension bus stock, but this one is really expensive. You see, you cannot buy it from any trader. You always have to buy it from someone who loots it, and the prices are ridiculous high, but it gives you an additional recoil reduction of 5%. I have to say, for the Saiga, in my opinion, that makes absolutely no sense. The pistol grips do not change the recoil, they just change the ergonomics. So I recommend either to buy the RK3, because this one is pretty cheap to use, gives you an ergonomics of 13. If you want to have it perfect, so to say, you buy the pistol grip from MOE, which gives you exactly one more ergonomics point, but the price is a lot higher, so it's just your decision. There are three different handguards available for the Saiga. The first one is just the standard one that we have just bought in our version from the flea market a minute ago. Then we have a short one and a long one. And the difference is, if you use the short one, you can attach a foregrip to it and tactical devices, and also a sight, which means in this case a reflex sight at the front, somewhere here. If you go with the long version, you can also attach a sight to it, but only at the end. So what does it mean in the game? It means in this case here, you can use a reflex sight at the end or a scope directly attached to that handguard. If you want to use the short handguard, then you cannot use a scope directly on the gun. The trick is to buy the Pilat 143 mount. That's this one. You can use this one to attach a scope or a reflex sight to the Saiga, no matter which kind of handguard you have there. But I will show you later in the modding scene how you have to play with it. It feels that there are hundreds of foregrips in the game. So I want to show you just the 4 of them which you should know. The others, in my opinion, are not worth either the money or the difference is so low that you can go with one of the 4. So either you go with the AFG. It's this one or this series, there are different colors available. This one gives you not even minus 2% of recoil, but it's a very, very cheap one. The next one that you could think of is the Fortis shift. It's this tactical grip. because this one gives you minus 2% of recoil, but also plus 11 on ergonomics, and the price is reasonable. If you need something better, then you can go for the RK1, this one, which you can unlock at skier pretty early. Minus 4% of recoil, but only plus 4 for ergonomics. Or you go with the RK2, which is for most of us pretty expensive because you unlock it pretty late. But if you take this one, you have minus 5% recoil, so it's the best one if you want to reduce the recoil, but the ergonomics go even more down. So you have to choose whatever you like. If you want to reduce the recoil the most, I recommend the RK1. If you want to use, if you want to have high ergonomics, I recommend the Shift. If you followed my videos for some time, you know that I'm always playing with a tactical flashlight or with a laser attached to my rifle. And the reason is pretty simple. I want to be able to shoot pretty accurate from the hip in close combat. So I don't want to aim down my sights if somebody is very near to me. So either I recommend to buy the X400, which is a flashlight and a red laser, or if you prefer to have a green laser, you go with the 3-2-1, the Holosun tactical device. This one can be switched between the colors, red laser or a green laser. There are more tactical devices who can do this, but this one is most of the time the cheapest one you can get. If I go into a raid with the Saiga as my main gun, then I always want to have, of course, the most bullets possible in my rifle. In this case, the Saiga has a 10-round magazine, which is called the SAI02. This one, it doesn't cost much. The only problem is it needs 3 slots in your tactical rig. So if you want to use this one and you want to switch it in game, you can go with the Alpha rig. It's this one. It's not too expensive if you compare it with the regular ones, because a regular one costs between 16 and 20k. This one costs 30-35, but you see it has a lot more space on it, so you can, of course, if you survive, you can get more loot out of the raid. If you survive 2 times in a row, it pays off. If you die the first time, of course, it is a little expensive. If you go with a standard rig, like the BlackRock for example, then the problem is you can only use one of the magazines directly at the start in the rifle, and when you switch it to the others that you have in the BlackRock, then you will throw it to the ground. I think because it's not too expensive, that's not a big problem, but you have to find out yourself if you want to do this, or if you want to go with the Alpha rig or just with standard magazines. If you don't need to go silence into the raid, then you can consider to buy, or well, of course you should consider to buy a muzzle brake. The cheapest one is the AKIOO. It's this one. Very often you can loot the Saiga directly with this one attached to it. It has a recoil of minus 14. The alternative is a Monster. And the Monster is pretty cool from the visual, of course, but also it has a minus recoil 24%. So this is pretty awesome. But if you look at the price, 13k is pretty much, and I personally prefer anyway to go in silent, even if it's even more expensive, because at least when I'm hunting the scavs, currently the bots are pretty stupid when you shoot silently at them. These are the items that we just bought, and I want to show you the different variations how to use them. We go to the modding window, and of course, first of all, we open the settings here, so you can see how much something changes. If we add, for example, the regular GK02 muzzle brake to it, the vertical recoil is 179. If you go to the Monster, it goes down by 39 points, so it's pretty big difference. Now we change the grip. This, as I said, this increases the ergonomics. And now comes the fun part, in my opinion, the handguards. So let's start with the short one. As I said, the short one means you can attach one of the reflex sights to it, but there's no space for a scope. So if you want to do this, you click here at the pilot mount to it, And on the pilot mount, then you can use either a normal DR1, or what I always use is the holo sight with a magnifier. The problem here is, in this case, a magnifier or the holo sight costs more than the whole gun. If you go with the long version, oh yeah, if you want to attach it and you see something red here, it means just that you still have the pilot mount attached to it. You have to take it away. Oh, sorry, the pilot mount is here. You have to take it away, then you can change the handguard again. So, and now you will see that in this case, you can only use at the back the scope or the reflex sight. There is no possibility to place it at the front. I don't know if this is a bug or if it's as intended. Here you can only place a tactical device on it, but as I said, it's not possible to do to place the reflex sight at the front. So you have to decide for yourself, what do you prefer? Reflex sights at the end, at the front, or if you go with the shorter version and you use the pilot mount, then you see it's a little higher, which is for some of the people, they don't like that visual. If you have it in game, it takes away a little more of your sight. In my opinion, the difference is not big, but you see at least these are the possibilities how you can use scopes and other attachments to that gun. To demonstrate the differences with the foregrips, I leave the monster attached to the rifle. And now we just change the foregrips. If you look at the vertical recoil, it's 136 right now. If I switch it to the shift as recommended before, it goes down to 128 and the ergonomics increases a lot. If I go to the RK1, the ergonomics goes down a little bit, but the recoil is now at 120, which is for a gun like this really, really helpful. And now we can do that even better. I show you how to do that with the stocks. As I said, you can use many different stocks. So in this case, you have to replace the standard stock with the PT lock, and then you attach the PT3 on it. Or you add the RPK buffer tube, and then on the buffer tube you add the MOE, and on the MOE you add the rubber pad. Or again, the RPK buffer tube and then the bus stock directly, and there's nothing that you have to attach to it. So the question what does it do with the recoil? Let's go back to the standard stock. Then the standard stock was 120 currently. If I go to the PT stock with the PT3 on it, it goes down to 101. If I go to the RPK 16 with the bus stock, it goes to 108, and with the MOE it's exactly the same, but the ergonomics is better. So if you only look at the stats, this one is, in my opinion, the most interesting combination, and it's also from the pricing pretty cheap. As I said, I prefer to have the large magazines attached to it, and I will go into my raids normally with this. So this is basically the loadout that you see me most, except I don't use the monster. As I said, I try to be silent most of the time. So it's this one. Now the last question is, of course, what about the tactical devices? And most of the time when I have to hunt the scavs, I love to make the night runs alone. So I use the flashlight in case I have to find something on the ground, and in the other cases I just run around with the X400 and switch it to the red laser. So that's pretty much it. And to be honest, now the gun looks pretty cool in my opinion, and it's really, really fun to play with it. The question is, which kind of ammunition do you use when? And I will show you this. If you plan to do a raid with the shotguns as a main weapon, of course there's a question, which one is better? A full modified 153 or a Saiga? And in this case I show both variations with the silencers attached to it, so the recoil is not the best. The big difference in my opinion is not the recoil here, the big difference is the accuracy. And if you look at the accuracy here and there, it is a huge difference. So if you want to aim on a very long distance, you might be better with the 153. If you go more to close range things, then of course the Saiga is better because you can reload it a lot faster. Of course we need ammunition too. So you could either buy buckshots, RIP, or you could buy the slug ammunition. The difference is RIP is extremely helpful against soft target, which means if the enemy has no body armor at all, or if you shoot only on the arms or only on the legs, they are pretty fucked when you shoot with this ammunition. But as soon as you shoot against someone with a medium armor, they are pretty useless. You should then try to aim to the legs. The slug ammunition is the one that I use for this mission because this one means even if it's a shotgun ammo, it contains only one bullet and it stays at one bullet. It does not spread out. So over a longer distance, it's absolutely accurate or pretty accurate. And you will be able to do the headshots more easily with this than if you go with the buckshot, because buckshot is the general thing that you know from shotguns. It contains a lot of small bullets, so when you shoot, it spread out very heavily. You don't need to aim very exact on a short distance, but on longer distances, it doesn't really hurt much. Plus, the armor penetration of this ammunition is very, very low, so not against armor targets and not good for medium to longer distances. So buckshots, use it only if you want to go CQB, which means close quarter combat. If you watched some of my videos before, you know that I'm totally addicted to the game since, I don't know, 2018 or whatever. And I really still love the game. I love the way the developers work with it because they make a lot of decisions that, in my opinion, are good for the game, even if some people don't like it. So I know for sure I will stay with the game for a very long time. However, if you want to see more of my stuff, click here or there and leave a comment what else you want to see, if I shall change something to the videos, if something is missing. So however, just give me your thoughts. And in case we meet in the game, just try not to shoot at me because you know I know a lot of things about the game, but I'm just a very, very bad player, so let me live and kill the others, please. Nah, just kidding, of course. Kill everyone you see, have fun.